and that's a magnificent train. You're 5 feet on the walk from the water. Metrolink, not so much. And then there's always the other issue, whereas, you know, you get on Metrolink and the first time you're sitting 30 minutes waiting at a junction for another train to go by, or you're sitting on the Surfliner and the guy on the PA says that the Metrolink switch operator is not letting us through, which is what they say. I've heard it twice.
Of course they do.
Of course they do. You're going to lose all of the branding that you have just spent all to try and get an emotional response, and it's going to turn, it's going to be the same thing. The reason that your current branding doesn't work is that it's associated with Chatsworth, Glendale, and a host of other things. And so until you get
until I can have a coastline on every single run, boy, I'd love to be able to provide a beach view on the
mountain.
I mean, but you're also running on the busiest rails in the country. Am I right about that?
Second
busiest corridor.
Second busiest corridor.
And so there are infrastructure issues that are going to prevent you from soaring like a condor.
Well, and you know, true to form, I mean, we're looking at a whole lot of different things to do, like some run-through service, some you know, looking at ways to make this thing work a little bit differently. We're not a long-distance rail.
No.
We don't have that beautiful dining car you can just walk over to, and the white tablecloth and
Bar car.
Yeah, the bar car. Now we're looking at that. No, seriously. I mean, you know, that's a whole different experience. That's that magic. You know, we have people on our trains for 30 minutes or longer.
Or longer.
But you
And hopefully keep them on.
one of the things that you're trying to sell is convenience and efficiency.
Right.
It's get point A, point B, better than the freeways, and a lot of times it is. And once we get the Expo line out to Culver City, I will be able to take it to my in-laws in Diamond Bar.
Cool.
But once I'm already on the road, getting to Union Station to Pomona to have them pick us up is not.
That's an important point.
Convenience.
Convenience. What sets the Metrolink apart is not what it is, a train. It's what it does. It allows you to get somewhere across a broad region more efficiently.
Except for the west side.
Maybe not faster most of the time, but hopefully you can get there faster. You can get there conveniently and make better use of your time.
Better use of your time.
Okay, branding is very complex and difficult in and of itself, but it should never be done in isolation.
Absolutely.
It should be done as part of an overall strategy. Look, I am an expert in my area, and I know how difficult it is to get involved in other people's areas, and there are people who do this for a living that are very good at it. So I'll have a few ideas for whatever it's worth. I see two things that are going on right now that are part of your overall strategy that you want to get done before you engage in a branding exercise. One is a good thing and the other is a bad thing. You have a number of very significant improvements that are currently underway. The new cars, one of these days perhaps we'll get run-through track, Union Station, etc. A bunch of other improvements, safety, operational, etc. Branding, I think in this case, would work better after you make it. The other thing you want to get behind you is the results of Chatsworth, because the last thing you want to do is come up with a new name, New Jersey Transit, and then 2 months later, New Jersey Transit finally settles for $500 million. That's the last thing the world wants.
Nice point.
Run with the existing one until 500 million.
Yeah, these things are so much fun. Some of you may remember Allegheny Air, wonderful name. It, of course, was known as Air Agony to everyone else. And so they changed their name, and there was a wonderful comedy routine And this poor guy is having a terrible time with customer service. And he's calling and calling and calling. He keeps calling him Allegheny. And finally, the poor young woman on the other side says, "Sir, we've changed our name now. We're U.S. Air." And he says, "Yes, and you aren't fooling anyone." That's what you've got to avoid. You have to offer something different. I'll suggest one of, look, I'm a CPA. Me and marketing, not real good, but one thing that I've seen from your demographics is you have a significant and growing Hispanic influence in your ridership, and many of the places you go through have that as well. You might want to go with something along that theme that is just totally off track in order to just start over in everyone's mind, as well as perhaps to attract to that growing secondary ridership. Okay, that's fine. I'll be happy to give you my card and give you my rates if you need any more marketing advice.
Good. I really appreciate that. I really did. I was kind of hinting toward that. I think I'm sure, you know, a little bit behind the scenes, hinting about that. Really, in Chatsworth's situation, really, does it look like we're ducking and those kinds of things? But I honestly, I greatly appreciate that insight because, you know, it's very well said. Very well said. And let me just add too. I 100% agree that there are many things that need to be taken care of. Finished, you know, operationally. I mean, we've got to get better at so many things. We've got to get better at delivering customer service that's consistent. That's not, on this train I get a good conductor, on this one, oh my goodness. You know, on this train, these toilets are clean, on this one, oh my gosh. You know, we've got to get better. We've got to get consistent before, you know, we can even go away. So I really appreciate that. It was really good. You're hired.
Just want to share this with you very quick. You know, in my previous life at the Southern Pacific Railroad, we went through several cycles, several iterations of name changing. Southern Pacific Transportation Company, Southern Pacific Railroad, Southern Pacific Lines, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, really what's more important is maintaining safety, performance, and revenue. So name is, to me at least, is what's more important is those three main elements. I think that's what's going to make it or break it.
But you're also known as SP.
SP, exactly.
Yeah, but,
Something like Link.
but it endured.
BP versus British Petroleum.
But to your point though, SP, it's endured. It's endured. Well, we all know the history of the SP. We all know the history, right? We can all point back to it and look at our China cap.
Especially since Metro Board voted to keep the gross negligence limit at 200 million rather than 500 million. And do you give a disclaimer to the people getting on that you're only insured up to?
Well, that's a whole other day's conversation. We're not going to talk about that little piece right now because we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to add grandeur to your operation, open up the old ticket windows out in Union Station and have them fully staffed, so you're not walking into the back dark corner.
Oh, I know. We're the stepchild around the corner. I know.
Well, from the receiver perspective, we are more concerned about accessibility. Okay, and when you become accessible, it means that you're more welcome to people in general. No matter what is the disability, or no matter what the person is, and you can say a lot more if you become accessible to wheelchairs, to baby strollers, to pen and mother
Yeah.
and all the stuff.